Good morning. Apple needs to reintroduce the 12-inch MacBook. This right here. Look how small this thing is. Look. See? Super thin. Super thin. Super small. Super lightweight. Look. This direction and this direction. It's smaller than the 12-inch iPad Pro. Now stay with me because I can already hear a few people thinking that the 12-inch MacBook was a failure. Yes. Sort of. However, it was definitely a proof of concept 5 years ago for what Apple is doing now with Apple Silicon. The MacBook was definitely the first step in the transition to ARM. Now you may not believe me, but the MacBook is a passively cooled computer with one port. Now if that's not basically the Mac version of an iPad, then I don't know what is. Now I'm not going to talk too much about a lot of numbers here, because honestly I'm going to stumble all over them, but all the numbers I've used for anything I tell you will be in the description box below. And all the numbers I'm going to be talking about will only be the length and the width, not the height. Just to be clear, because the actual height of the computer is largely irrelevant to what I'm going to be talking about. So first of all, the 12-inch MacBook is 85.45 square inches. For reference, the older 11-inch MacBook Air was 89.2 square inches, and the older 13-inch MacBook Air was 114.4 square inches. The current 13-inch MacBook Air / MacBook Pro, because they have the same length and width, is 100.1 square inches. The MacBook is 4.2% smaller than the old 11-inch MacBook Air, 25% smaller than the old 13-inch MacBook Air, and 15% smaller than the current 13-inch MacBook Air. Now there is another reason why I think they need to reintroduce the 12-inch MacBook, and it is all due to the rumors of the new 14-inch MacBook Air / Pro. Now, the 13-inch MacBook Air and MacBook Pro are rumored to increase to 14 inches with the transition to Apple Silicon. That's the rumor. I don't have any actual facts on it, but it is the rumor. And due to the fact that I have absolutely no information on what the actual dimensions are, I sort of came up with them on my own by looking at the transition of the 15-inch MacBook Pro to the 16-inch MacBook Pro. And the number that I came up with for the new 14-inch MacBook Pro / Air is 104.78 square inches, which actually means that the MacBook is 18% smaller than the new theoretical 14-inch MacBook Air. Also, just in case you're wondering, the 11-inch MacBook Air was 22% smaller than the older 13-inch MacBook Air and 11% smaller than the current MacBook Air. So there is some precedence in having the smallest computer you sell being roughly 20% smaller than the next smallest computer you sell. Now they could theoretically make it smaller and it wouldn't be that much smaller, but then they would make the keyboard smaller, and I don't think that would be worth it for a MacBook computer. All I know is that this is the favorite Mac I've ever owned. Of course, I've only owned two other Macs, the 14-inch iBook and the 13-inch polycarbonate MacBook. Neither one of them were even remotely this svelte. Could you imagine what they could do if they put an Apple Silicon chip in this thing? Now, I'm not saying that I would absolutely buy a 12-inch MacBook, but this is due for an upgrade. Now, that upgrade might be the new iPad Air, but it also could be the theoretical new 12-inch MacBook that Apple absolutely needs to reintroduce. So Apple, if you're listening, 12-inch MacBook. Add another USB port. I don't care. It's fine with one, but honestly, 2, 3, 5, I don't care. If you can figure out how to add 5 USB-C things to this thing, great. Don't get rid of the headphone jack. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.